Messages. All right. Fix this up real quick. I probably won't even need that. Okay. Hey y'all, I just started the live stream because for some reason, like I said, I always want to tie flies late at night, but I'm gonna start off with a spoon fly just to do something different. Um, so use these sight cast spoon fly hooks. They're actually made for tying spoon flies. I've already threw one up here on the vise. And these are also made by Sightcast Fishing. These are like little pre-made spoon cutouts. And I get the gold most of the time. And this right here is just like a little backside of it that you can put on there. So, we got hair and thread on here from. So what I'm doing, I'm peeling one off here, y'all, but they're kind of a pain. To peel off, so I'm gonna peel one off and I'm gonna get started for y'all. I promise you. Just a second. So what you want to do? I got a front and a back right here. And I'm just gonna put them together very carefully where they line up. Of course, I probably used to be better at that when I had some eyes before I got old. Good grief. Sorry, y'all. I'm putting the spoon fly together, the body of the spoon fly together real quick. I'll show you again what I'm using here in just a second. Let me get this one put together. I'll tell you what. I think I'm just going to go just with the gold part, just to make it easy. All right, y'all. So what these are little pre-made, just little cutouts made by Sightcast Fishing for the gold spoon. And normally the way they want you to tie it on, they want you to lay this like this on the hook and tie it and then bend it back. But what I found by doing that is the action isn't as good. So I literally lay it on the hook with the little flap. All right, it's nighttime, so my cats are going to want to start acting like ninjas. All right. And instead of regular thread, y'all, I'm going to use this wire thread. It's red. It's just going to add a little bit more color to it. I don't have a lot left on here, so if I run out, I'll have to switch to regular thread. But I'm going to start off using the wire thread. So, actually, what I'll do, I almost screwed up. I'll get a little bit of thread started on here. Like I said, it's just wire thread. I'm just getting a little bit started on here real quick. And it's wire, so the thicker you put it on there, y'all, what you call it? The thicker you put it on there. In other words, if you put a big old thick thing of wire thread on there, you're gonna see it. Oh, awesome! Thank y'all for liking and subscribing, man. That's what I've been doing YouTube now for, I don't know, y'all, years, and I've still got less than 3,000 subscribers, and I've made a whole $100 on YouTube, y'all. But just being honest with you, I think I've made $105, but I got 500 something videos on my channel, but my problem is I don't look good in a bikini. So if I did, I'd probably have more subscribers, but I don't. So, because my fishing videos are pretty good. If you check out the channel, you'll see the videos themselves are okay. I just don't look good in a bikini. So. Gonna get this started if it ever lines up. Hold on, y'all. I swear I know what I'm doing. This thing right here is just being a pain. It's probably because I got light set up for y'all to see, but it don't work out so good for me doing that. So the light works great for y'all, but not so good for me. All right, so now that we got a little bit started, I'm just going to kind of flip over this. And I'm just going to work down the hook with the red. This needs to stay over there like that. Get out of that kitchen. My dog's coming in here trying to sneak around since I'm over here doing this and thinks he's going to get some, go over there and eat the cat food. So what I'm doing, I'm running down the hook with the gold, y'all. I'm sorry, it's red. I'm running down the hook with the red. That's just gonna, we're gonna put the body of the fly on the hook. So I put this gold on there to I'm sorry, I keep saying gold. I put this wire on there. I keep saying gold because the fly is gold, I guess. To just like you do a normal fly, you know, you want to have thread on the hook. Well, what I'm going to do is when I fold this over, I'm going to use some epoxy or glue or whatever, and it's going to hold this on there. So I want something besides just that hook to hold this. Get out of the kitchen. So, the dog's in there trying to eat cat food. Hey, don't go in there again, dude. His name is Rutabaga, and he's awesome, but he's a pain in the butt. There's Speedos from in, yeah. Not this dude. Alright. I was just kidding. The reason I say that, y'all, because I see fishing channels out there with a whole lot less subscribers. But yet it's some pretty girl in a bikini and she's got 1 million subscribers and I'm sorry, a whole lot less videos. And they're just fishing videos, but it'll be a girl in a bikini. So of course she's got 1 million subscribers and all that. So what I'm gonna do, y'all, I ran the thread down the hook. We're gonna go ahead and put that across there. But just to give this thing a little color before I do, I'm gonna add some little shiny stuff right there. And I'm not hating y'all, I'm just kidding. I am just kidding. I'm not hating on anybody. Trust me, if I was a girl, I'd be doing the same thing. Alright. Alright, y'all. I'm gonna take a little bit of this right here. I'm gonna add a little shiny to the hiney on this thing. Do you need it? Not really. I mean, when that fly passes in front of a fish, just the shine of the fly itself is gonna attract them. So this is a spoon fly. We use it a lot for redfish. Now, it's not my go-to thing. My go-to thing are like normal flies, just regular old, redfish flies. But believe it or not, there's been days that we have thrown normal flies at a redfish, and they wouldn't eat it. Turn around, throw a spoon fly out there on them, and they start smoking it. So it's just weird. Throw every fly you got in the box at them. They won't eat it. Throw a spoon fly in there and they start wearing it out. I'm just doubling this over, y'all. You know what? I'm not going to put it on there. It's being a pain in my butt. I ain't going to mess with it. Alright, so now you got the spoon on there. I'm going to wrap the thread down here. And like I said, I'm using metal thread, or wire, really. I'm using wire thread on here just because it's got adds a little bit more color to the hook. You can use regular thread, which is what most people do. I'm just using the wire just because it's got a little more color to it. I'm down to one person watching. I had like 15 or 16 a few minutes ago, but that's okay. I know it's weird what I'm doing right here. I'm gonna tie this thing off real quick, y'all. Instead of tying it off at the head, I started down here at I started at the head, so I'm tying it at the tail. You know what, I won't be able to do it like that. We're just gonna do it old school. We're gonna wrap it. So I'm gonna cut the wire. And we're just gonna old school tie it off, which is instead of using the tool, we're just gonna wrap it around, do a bunch of wraps. It's gonna have epoxy on it anyway in just a second, y'all, and that's gonna hold this stuff on there. It's gonna hold the thread. I'm using wire thread, but it's gonna hold it on there when I put this epoxy on there. My little wire broke. Hello. Oh, what's up? Tater and tater tie. Oh yeah. So I'm just finishing up this fly right here, y'all. Might just have to let it roll like that. My little wire thread broke, but I might be able to get it. Actually, I'll just put it right here. The wire thread broke, but I can just throw a little bit more on here and it's not going to hurt anything. I'd be done with this, with all this right here if my wire wouldn't have broke. So I started at the head of the fly, or the head of the hook. So that's the reason I'm finishing off at I'm tying it off at the tail, which is not normal on most flies. Most flies, you're tying it off at the head. We're going to put plenty of epoxy in here anyway. Plenty of epoxy. This wire thread is a little bit of it's kind of a pain. The only reason I'm using wire thread, y'all, is to give this fly a little bit more color. As soon as I get this tied on, I'm gonna turn it over and you'll see what I mean by giving it some more color. All right, that'll be good enough. There's gonna be epoxy all over that to hold it on. So by using this colored thread with the colored wire, you see on that side how it's got the red wire kind of contrasting. Now we're about to add some epoxy and actually some color. Even though this is already gold, you can leave this just how it is, y'all, if you want, and throw the epoxy on top. Because this right here is soft, the fly itself, but we're going to add that epoxy. It's going to make it hard. You can leave it just like it is if you want, but I'm actually going to add some gold glitter to it, y'all. I like throwing gold glitter on there to make it give it a little pop. So I'm gonna throw a little bit of gold on this side, and on the other side, I decided to go with some like a little, almost like a chartreuse. So what I do, I got a little thing just to put what you call it in. I'm gonna grab some solar res. This is actually some thick. You can use regular pots. You can use super glue. You can use whatever to do it. And I'm just putting some thick epoxy down in here. And I've actually got gold flakes. You can go buy them at a craft store, cheap, you know. And I'm just going to put some gold flakes in that epoxy, like so. And these things are cheap, y'all, like $4 or $5 for a whole pack of them. So when you're using them, I mean, you don't have to be super sparing or whatever with it. You can just throw it on there. Now I'm just kind of mixing that gold inside that epoxy, and then I'm gonna put this on the fly. It gives the fly, actually, not that it's gonna matter, because when it goes by the fish, they're gonna eat it, but it gives the fly a little bit of texture to it too. It's not super smooth or whatever, but I'm gonna tell you, it works, y'all. I've done this, and with this glitter on here, it adds a bunch of, it's almost like a three-dimensional shine to it, instead of just being the shine that's just from the fly body itself, the spoon body itself. With that glitter on there, it's kind of chunky almost, so it's got shine coming off of it all over the place, and it works great, y'all. I mean, I've fished with this fly and caught them, so it works. I said, I've had days, y'all, that we have thrown every kind of normal fly you can at a redfish. You're going through your whole fly box, and for some reason they won't eat. Pick up, put a spoon fly on there. It's just a spoon. This is a spoon fly, y'all. I wish all my fly boxes are in my truck right now. So if I had some finished ones, I'll show them to you. But this one's going to be finished here in just a little bit. It's a spoon fly, so you can use it for any kind of, you know, like bass. I mean, any kind of aggressive predatory fish will eat this fly, but I'm just tying it for redfish. So I put a lot of glitter on this front part right here. Now we're going to throw some chartreuse. I'll show you here in a second. See, I don't know if that zooms in. See the gold on there, y'all? The glitter. So when it's going through the water, there's light flashing off that glitter. And all this right here is about to look different here in a second whenever I get this epoxy put on there. So now we're going to put some chartreuse on this side, y'all. Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you. So what this does, it adds color to the spoon, and also the epoxy is hardening the spoon, because the spoon itself is not hard. The body of the spoon right now is not hard at all. So and now we're about to throw some chartreuse on this underside right here, and then we're going to go coat the whole thing, like the thread and all that stuff, the thread and all. We're going to coat it again in epoxy to hold that spoon body on there. Actually, and when I do this right here, it's going to help hold it on there, but we're going to go over all of it here in just a second. Again, little cheap paintbrushes, y'all, like a couple of dollars for an entire pack. So because they're gonna using that epoxy with the paintbrush, you don't want to go out and buy some expensive paintbrush, because they're gonna get ruined from the epoxy. So now we're gonna put the chartreuse on this side. And like I said, it's doing two things. I'm adding color to the spoon, and it's gonna, when that stuff dries, it's gonna harden the spoon and make it super, you know, hard. Because right now it's very, I mean, all that sounds terrible, but you know what I'm saying. All right. How much does it cost? Not a lot, y'all. So I can't remember exactly how much the stuff, like if you were to just tie spoon flies, it's not going to be very much. The bodies, I can't, I don't have the packages for them right now. I've already threw the packages away, but they're not very much. If you go to, and I'm not sponsored by Sightcast Fishing or anything like that at all, but I buy the spoon bodies from them. So if you go to sightcastfishing.com, they have the spoon bodies. They're just pre-made spoon bodies. And think about it is, y'all, you don't even have to do that. You can go buy ribbon from a craft store, like ribbon that you would tie around presents. You can actually cut ribbon into the shape of a spoon and do that. You can make them out of stuff like ribbon if you want to do that. You don't have to go out and buy the pre-made spoon bodies. It's basically a hook. This is a size 1, but now this hook right here is actually made for to do spoon flies with. So it's got like a little, it's got like a bend to it already, and a good bend to it, made for spoons. But you don't necessarily. I mean, you just need a small hook, like a size 1 or something like that, and you can, like I said, you can cut ribbon into the shape of a spoon if you want to do that. After this, y'all, we're gonna tie some normal flies. By the way, I was just kind of leading off because I haven't done a spoon fly live on here, so I just thought I would lead off with that. I got one little part right here. I'm just being picky now, but I got one little part right here that don't have quite as much glue as the other part. But yeah, y'all, tying flies, I'm not gonna say it's cheap because anything associated with fly fishing, for anybody that fly fishes, you add fly fishing to the title of anything, and it makes it expensive, even though it probably shouldn't be. But I mean, it's cheap, really. It's, instead of going out buying a bunch of flies, it's cheaper to tie them. But now, if you start, and obviously, the more fly tying stuff you buy, the more it's going to be. But overall, it's really cheaper than going out and buying a bunch of store bought flies. And y'all, the satisfaction of catching fish on flies that you tied is awesome. If you go on my channel, which obviously if you're watching, you're on my channel now. If you look at the last big video I put out, it was me and I took another fishing guide buddy of mine. Me and him were both off that day. We didn't have charters, so we went fly fishing, obviously, and we were smoking them on flies I tied, and it was a lot of fun. So if you watch that video, you'll see. So I added some chartreuse to that side, y'all. I don't know if you're gonna be able to tell with the. So I added chartreuse on that side. We got gold on this side. Now I'm gonna take some epoxy and just go over this thread right here because I used wire thread actually. So we're just gonna go over that thread, y'all, just to make sure that thread stays on there. And then we'll hit it all with a UV light. And right after that, y'all, we'll tie some normal flies. I mean, these spoon flies aren't very hard. They don't take very long to tie. We'll tie some normal flies to let y'all see some regular flies real quick. I'm just adding some epoxy to this thread to hold that thread on there. That's all I'm doing. And that's that epoxy. It's called Solarez, but it dries with UV light, y'all. So I'm just gonna hit it with the UV light. It don't take but a few seconds for it to dry. Now, the correct way, if you want to tie a bunch of spoon flies, it's best to get a thing that rotates the flies. It'll rotate them so it's basically like a wheel. You put all your fly, it's like a foam wheel. You plug it in, you turn it on, it'll rotate all your fly, because that way all this epoxy can dry slow. And what it does, since it's rotating, it'll dry that epoxy kind of even, you know. Because right now, I just did this one real quick on here, y'all. But if you want to do it the perfect way, where it's, everything looks absolutely perfect, and then you want to use like a wheel and do it that way. I'm just adding a little more epoxy right there. I'm gonna hit this underside, and I'll show you this fly was super flexible. Oh, I got 7 thumbs up. Thank y'all. What's up, Mr. Terry? So I'm just starting off with a spoon fly right here to be simple, y'all, but we'll tie some different flies here in just a second. I might have to let my dog out here in a second because he's over here whining for some reason. All right, y'all. So we did gold on that side right there, y'all. There it is. It's kind of going into focus now. Gold right there on that side. We used metal wire, y'all, just to give it some color. And on this side right here, we threw some chartreuse on there. Now, if you remember this right here, it's these sheets right here, y'all, that are super, you see they're flimsy. But by adding that epoxy, now the fly itself is hard. So you don't have to worry about about it getting destroyed, from catching the first fish. It's gonna be good to go. So you'll be able to catch, a bunch of fish on there, unless one of them eventually tears it up. But usually we catch several fish on the same fly. In situations I use this, so we're coming up on springtime down here in Louisiana, which down here we'll get about 2 weeks of springtime, and then it'll be 96 degrees outside after that. But we're coming up on next time I'm going fishing. I got charters this weekend. I fished this Saturday and Sunday, y'all. All right, y'all. We're gonna hang that one up, and we'll do a regular fly now. So, what I was saying about the spoon flies, you're coming up on springtime right now. And the thing about spring, as you know, you start getting a lot of wind. It starts being windy outside all the time. So we'll be throwing a lot of spoon flies because, you get a lot of wind. Sometimes the water is dirty. It's hard to, because all the fly fishing we did in here for redfish is normally sight fishing. But with it getting to be springtime, we're going to get a lot of wind. That's just the way it is. And so we will be, sometimes the water's too dirty to actually sight fish. So if it is, you'll be doing regular old fishing just like you do everywhere else, y'all. And you'll be casting to where the fish should be. And a lot of times we'll be throwing a spoon fly. So in other words, throwing them in little pockets, little places where water's emptying out of the marsh, stuff like that. Sling a spoon fly over there and pull it through there, and they'll normally smoke it. We've caught them on spoon flies on days when it's windy and rainy. We've caught them when it's rain, clouds. You can't even see the bottom because of all the rain and clouds, but you're still catching them on spoon flies because they're shiny. They pass in front of the fish and they eat it. I'm just rigging up some thread right here, y'all. So I just put the little thread thing through there. And excuse me if on my technical terms, if I don't say the name of every little thing, but honestly, I don't even think about it. I don't think about technically what the stuff is called. I just do it. So get out of that kitchen. Dog wants to go in there and eat cat food. That dog eats all day long. You get treats all day and then feed him and then whatever, more treats, and then he wants to come in here to eat cat food. All right, so we just read the thread. Well, that's awesome. Well, thank you, Tater. All right, now we're going to tie some regular flies. I kind of ran out of I was using those ARAX SA 220s. I ran out of those, but this is also a popular fly. I mean, also a popular hook to tie with. It's a Gamakatsu B10S or B10S or whatever. It's just a 1/0 hook. But to be a 1/0 hook, it's a pretty good size hook, and it's made for, a lot for people use it a lot for flying ties. I always say that for tie. I say that sometimes to be funny, and then sometimes I screw up and say it, but it's made for tying flies, y'all. So we're gonna start off with that. Just put the hook on the vise. Let's see. I don't even know what I'm gonna tie yet, y'all. We'll make it up. We'll make it up as we go along. We'll see if it turns out cool. I tell you what, just so y'all can see the thread color don't matter a whole lot anyway. We're gonna go with chartreuse thread just so y'all be able to see it better. So we're gonna start off putting some thread, running some thread down the hook. Thread was kind of this is wax thread. It was kind of wanting to stick there for a second. I apologize about that. And what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna put a little bit of thread right here at the front of the hook to start off with. Just cut off that tag end. And now while we're up here close to the eye, I'm gonna go ahead and put the eyes on here, y'all. Like I said, we'll just make it up as we go along. I tell you what, you were asking about prices of stuff earlier. A pack of eyes, these right here, like the little bit larger size, are $4.75 at my local. But since it's my last chartreuse, we'll go with chartreuse just to use it up. All right. So when you put the eye on there, when you first put it on there, because I know my hand's going to be in the way, you have to go over a couple of wraps to kind of hold the eye on there. I'll show you. So you have to go over just a couple of wraps to kind of hold it on there. But if you can see, it's kind of caught on one side. So now we're going to have to go the opposite direction. A couple of wraps, and now that'll kind of evens. I don't even know if y'all can tell, but it kind of evens up the fly. You wanted a good 90-degree angle on the hook. And now we're just going to start. We're going one way against the eye and the other. So we're making X wraps right here. So I'm just X wrapping it. I don't have a set amount. I do, y'all. I just do a pretty good bit because you want the eyes to stay. You don't want to start catching fish and your eye get all twisted on the, your lead eye get all twisted on the hook the first or second fish you catch, So I do a pretty good amount of, what you call it's on here, wraps on here, just making an X pattern. To get into fly fishing, well, from what I see before, and this is just from I'm speaking from a fly fishing guide's point of view. Before you ever do a guided trip, at least know how to cast, y'all. The reason I say that, I've had people that come on charters for fly fishing, they can't really cast, and it's just not a very productive day. And you don't have to be flip pallet. I'm not a flip pallet. I can't sit there and cast all 90 feet off the rod like some guys can. I get some guys down here that can do that. They can cast 90 or 100 feet of line off the rod. I can't do that. But I mean, honestly, down here, you only need to be able to cast about a good, at the most sometimes, maybe 30 feet. A lot of times the redfish are literally right in front of the boat. I mean, right in front of the boat. You'll have redfish 5 and 10 feet off the boat sometimes, y'all. Not even kidding. Sometimes they're literally right by the boat where instead of doing all this, just drop the fly in front of it. Cane pole them. I tell people that all the time. If the fish is right in front of the boat, don't start slinging because they're going to see you. Just drop I know it's not fancy and it's not very whatever. Just drop the fly in front of them, man, if they're there. If you got a 20-something pounder in front of the boat, don't start doing all this if you can literally just drop the fly in front. So but tips, um, fly rods are important. And that's one thing. A lot of fishing, like if you're spinning rod fishing, bait cast fishing, whatever, you don't really need super high end rods to do that stuff. Fly fishing on a rod, high quality rods are better. I mean, that's just. And do you need a super high quality rod? Not really, but you can really tell a difference. When I first started, I didn't use super high quality stuff, and I've had rods snap on me. One of them, I've had a couple break on fish. One of them I couldn't help. It was actually only about maybe a 25 or 26-inch black drum, but when he grabbed it, he ran right up on the boat 100 miles an hour. So my rod bent completely over and snapped in 4 places. And then one of them I broke on purpose, not on purpose, but I broke on accident trying to net a fish. But fly rods, the more, I mean, I don't want to say the more money you spend, but definitely high quality rods make a difference fly fishing. Um, Fly line is super important. I use Cortland. I mean, I'm sitting here wearing Cortland stuff, and their lines, my favorite, yeah, crisscross. That's right. So my favorite line that I'm using right now, made by Cortland, is called XP, uh, and it's really, you can use it for anything. Obviously, I use it for redfish, but that XP line by Cortland, it's a floating line, but it's really weighted heavy towards the front of the line, and I mean it's made to shoot. I don't have to sit there and make a ton of false casts with it. If that redfish is out there, I can literally pick it up and shoot it out there and get it in front of the fish without having to do a bunch of false casts, or maybe do one false cast. And then that new XP line by Cortland's awesome. But I use Cortland line. I've used all kinds of lines. I've had pretty much all of them. But I use Cortland line. That new XP is my new favorite line. They were actually they Yeah, yeah. XP is awesome. So they actually came and fished with me last year. At the very end of, well, so I take back, it would have been 2023 now. Yeah. So they fished with me um at the very end of 23. They came down like the last couple of days of January and the first couple of days of February. They fished with me for a few days, and they were still testing the XP at that time. And the first day, it was a group of 6 guys from Cortland. The first day I happened to get, I think it was the VP, the vice president of Cortland. All them guys can cast. I mean, they're great cat. They don't just make fishing line. They love to fish. But um, anyway, I had the vice president of Cortland on the boat the first day, and within a few minutes of us fishing, the first canal we stopped on, he caught a 16-pound red, but he was shooting that line out there. I was like, man, what line is that? He said, we're still developing. It's called XP, but as soon as it came out, I got some XP. So yeah, but anyway, a good rod if you're starting out fly fishing. You don't need a super expensive rod to start off with, but when you start developing your skills, you'll notice the better rods, which are usually more expensive, are going to be better. Um, Fly line super important. Practice. Go out in the yard. Um, I don't know. So practice. Go out in the yard. Just take a fly. You don't even really need a fly, but just a piece of junk fly, and just practice, y'all. Practice, practice. All right. So now that we did a bunch of cross patterns on the eye, now we're gonna wrap under the eye like this right here, and this is just gonna. It's just like you're lashing 2 poles together. I say it all the time, like if you're in the Boy Scouts. Now we're gonna go under the eye, and it's gonna take the X pattern and just pull it together tight. Now we're gonna wrap down the hook. So right here, about where the hook, the point of the hook comes in line, and we're stop. Now we're gonna throw some solar res. This right here dries super fast. And we're gonna put this right here over the eyes. And then hit it with a light. And this stuff dries. It says on the package under 10 seconds, and it dries quick. In fact, when you hit it, see the smoke came up just then. When you hit it with that ultraviolet light, you can actually see the smoke come up where it dries. All right. I think we'll do kind of a shrimpy pattern, y'all. Let's do kind of a shrimpy pattern. All right, so we're gonna start off with a tail. So we're gonna grab a deer tail right here. We're just gonna use a regular deer tail. These regular deer tails, they come from the south, you know, like Georgia, Texas, stuff like that. And then if you get these, like these purple deer tails, they come from California. So you got the regular deer tails, the California deer tails. So we're going with a regular deer tail right here. And just gonna take off some white. Y'all know I'm joking, right? I'm just kidding. We're gonna grab some white, like this right here, y'all. Just a bunch of it. And cut. And my scissors fell on the floor. Hold on a second. Let me retrieve my scissors. All right. We got a bunch of white like this right here. We're just gonna cut it like so. We got some white right here, y'all. And we're gonna make a tail. We'll just do a shrimp pattern. Something kind of shrimpy. I'm just making sure that tail stays on top of the hook right there is what I'm doing. All right. Now I'm gonna grab a black Sharpie. And we're gonna throw some stripes on here, y'all. Kind of break up that tail a little bit and make it look cool. All right. And when this is in the water, y'all, this tail is going to flow backwards. It's all going to kind of line up like that. You know, it'll straighten out. Now we're going to throw some shrimp eyes on here, y'all. I'm going to flip this over. Sorry, this vise is not one of those super fancy ones that spins all over the place. It's old. All right, let's throw some shrimp eyes. You know what? Let's keep with our. So these are called easy shrimp eyes, y'all. They kind of come together, or they come already. So you're not having to like take two of these and make shrimp eyes. This is what they look like, y'all. Little easy shrimp eyes. So what you're gonna do? You're gonna split your hook. You're gonna split your hook with the eyes, like so. So we're just splitting the hook with the eyes. We're gonna run the thread down. Like that. Now I'm gonna take some solar res again, and I like putting it over that thread where I just put the shrimp eyes on there. And just kind of lock those shrimp eyes in place. And we're gonna hit it with a ultra what you call it, ultra UV light again, ultraviolet light. And that's just gonna kind of lock those on there. We'll turn this back over. So you got the shrimp eyes on there. All right, y'all. Okay. Let's continue on. All right, we're gonna add some body to this fly. Give it some poofiness, a little body to it, and a little more action. That's actually a pretty good little shrimp color right there, ain't it? It's ginger on that color. Let's go with a ginger color. So this is saddle hackle. I don't know why they call it that, y'all. I'm not a fly tying historian, but it's basically just colored feathers. So we're gonna grab, I'm gonna find a feather right here that I like. And I'm gonna cut off, this part down here is a little thicker. Y'all, we're gonna cut that off. Actually, I'll just let it fall on the floor. I have to sweep up every time. After I tie flies, y'all, I have to sweep the floor because I get so much junk. All right, so there we go. I'm just using this color because it's got a little, it's kind of a shrimpy color. You'll see what I mean on the fly. I think it's going to come together and make a pretty good little shrimp color. You can use any kind of color, y'all. I mean, there's no rule. Honestly, a lot of times, if that fly goes in front of a redfish, he's probably going to eat it. Sometimes you'll get refusals on certain colors or certain patterns, and you'll just have to go through some flies and see what color they're wanting to eat that day or whatever. But so I'm just going to get the feather started on the fly like that. And now you're going to wrap the feather. I wrap it the same direction. Let's get this thread out of the way. I wrap it the same direction as I'm doing my, as I do the thread. That's what most people do, I guess. And as you wrap, I'm going to go ahead and add a little clip to it. I got a clippy right here. Don't know the technical name, y'all. Tweezers. Fancy tweezers, that's what it is. Probably overly expensive tweezers that are made for fly fishing. And as you wrap, I'm wrapping towards the eye of the hook. I'm going to pull this other back towards the hook, is what I'm doing as I wrap it. And then right here, just gonna go ahead and get a few wraps in there to hold that in place. Just put a few wraps on there like that. And just to be fancy, not that the fish care, I'm gonna cut off a couple of these little stragglers that are up here close to the eye of the hook. All this, when it's in the water, is gonna flow backwards anyway, y'all. So it's got like a little shrimpy color to it. So all this, when it's in the water, will flow back like that. That's gonna be like a little shrimpy color. All right, now y'all, we're just gonna add some crack wrap right here. Yeah. And since we are doing kind of a natural looking shrimp color, we're gonna throw like kind of a natural looking crack wrap to the front of it. It's called crack wrap because it was developed by Hunter Biden. So, all right, y'all, we're gonna cut off a few inches right here. I might have cut off a little bit more than I actually need, but it's fine. A little more shine ain't gonna hurt anything. Now we're going to get it started right here. So I'm just putting a few wraps to hold that down. I'm gonna get the string out of my way, the thread, whatever. And now we're gonna start wrapping it. And as you wrap it, you want to keep all the fuzzy part of it pushed back towards the back of the hook. You know, the back of the fly. And ideally, it'll almost stand straight up and down, honestly. It's what you, at least for me, I like it to stand straight out. I push it back towards the back of the fly, but I kind of like it to stand straight out and give the fly that poofiness, you know? Some poofiness and some, a little more body to it. Now I'm gonna wrap it towards the eye of the hook. See, right here it's trying to come towards the eye, so you just got kind of, you want to keep that stuff pushed back. We're getting right here towards the eye of the hook now. Now while we got a little bit left, I'm gonna throw some wraps on here. A couple of wraps to hold this in place, and then cut this off. Cut off your little straggly part right there. And then I'm going to pull this back and get some wraps on there to hold it. As you can see, it just kind of comes together and makes like a little shrimpy pattern, y'all. All that I'm cutting off don't really matter. I'm just making it look fancy for whoever throws it, because I don't know if I'll be throwing it or if one of my clients will be throwing it. But anyway, and now we're going to put a few wraps right here at the right here behind the eye of the hook again, and then tie it off. And use this little fancy doodad right here. Right here, we're gonna wrap it up. And I just do like whatever, 4 or 5 of these. We got one on there. We're gonna do it. We're gonna hit it again. And I usually do mine about 3 times, y'all. I'm just, with the amount of giants we catch down here, I'm just particular about my thread. And that's basically about it. Now I'm going to add a little bit of solar res right here to the eye, where that thread's at that I just put on there, just to kind of lock those knots in place right there. Hit it with the UV light again. You see the smoke come up when I hit it with that light. And y'all, these UV lights will sunburn you. I've actually sunburned my finger, and it'll peel and everything. I mean, it'll burn you. I mean, it's UV, so there it goes. I had that vice clamped down pretty tight. All right, y'all. There's a little paint mark. Those eyes aren't perfect looking, but that's fine. There's a little paint mark on this side over here. So basically just tied a little shrimpy looking fly, a little shrimpy looking colors. When this is in the water, y'all, all this right here will flow backwards like that. That's just the way it is. Once that water gets on there, it's going to flow back. So it's not going to keep that poofiness. You know, it'll flow back and basically look like that. But drop it in front of a redfish, strip it by him a few times, and he should eat it up, y'all. That's basically it. See, the eyes messed up right there. It's got a little bit of black paint. That's it, y'all. All right, y'all. So we started off. We tied the spoon fly to start off with. This was the spoon fly we tied to start off with, y'all. See if it focuses in. There it goes. Put some gold glitter on that side. I used metal wire. I put chartreuse on that side. There's gold under it with chartreuse. So we started off with a spoon fly, and then we just ended up with a shrimp right here, y'all. Did like a little shrimpy pattern. So I think that's it tonight, y'all. It is, I can't tell what time it is over there, around 9 o'clock, I think, my time. So that's it, y'all. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't, and thank y'all.